This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi was written by Anthony Oksenholt and was published by Oksenholt Biloxi Publishing, LLC. A link to the book will be placed in the description below.
Yeah, this a revolution in our time. Everybody's fighting, change coming, yes. That's why it's an acronym for riot. Everybody has a voice. Don't you dare stay silent. If you say nothing, you are an accessory to violence.
They've had their say. Seems like they've had that kind of say around here for too long. I had to stand up for myself alone. I went in there to remind them that somewhere in this world there's still a little law and order left. To let them know in the only kind of terms that their kind understand is that they can't bribe or threaten their way out of what they did. Let them do this to me and get away with it, and you give them the eternal right to do the same damn thing to any one of you.
Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt, where we report the facts and we are not for sale. If you have a news story or something that's on your mind, please feel free to give us a call at 228-337-2099. Be glad to have you on. Thank you for listening, and we do appreciate all that you do to support us and keep free and independent journalism doing what we do best. Hey, y'all. Access 228, your host, Anthony Oksenholt. Oh, just watch this fucking exchange. Just watch this bullshit.
Gentleman from New York is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I want to begin by acknowledging the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's horrific abuse who are in the room with us today. I want to thank all of you for your bravery in speaking out. I want to say that you and the other survivors of these heinous crimes deserve better from this Department of Justice. In particular, it is shocking that the department did not redact the names of Epstein's victims, but it did redact the names of their abusers. I don't know whether this was done out of incompetence or whether it was deliberate and malicious, but either way, it is completely unacceptable. Even more troubling, the DOJ has failed to bring any of these perpetrators to justice. Instead, it has engaged in a relentless pursuit of Donald Trump's perceived enemies. I want to focus on just one example. The Attorney General of my home state of New York, Tish James. This DOJ has been hell-bent on securing an indictment against Ms. James for something, anything, simply because she held Donald Trump's companies accountable for years of financial fraud. And indeed, the department manufactured an investigation against her for alleged, quote, mortgage fraud. But the U.S. attorney leading the investigation, Eric Siebert, a Trump appointee, refused to bring charges against Ms. James because there was simply no evidence. Unfortunately, a prosecutor who refuses to do Trump's bidding has no place in this DOJ, so Mr. Siebert was forced out. Trump could not contain his fury that he expressed to you in a social media post addressed to you by name. I'm sure you've seen it. Quote, I fired him, and there is a great case, he wrote to you about Mr. Siebert. Then we moved down. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. And obviously, you followed that order. Lindsay Halligan, Trump's former defense lawyer who had never prosecuted a case in her life, was installed to replace Mr. Siebert, and it was clear that part of her mandate was to go after Ms. James. Halligan immediately sought an indictment, which the court dismissed because Halligan was illegally put into the role. But your department was undeterred, and not once, but twice, it tried to indict Attorney General James in separate courts. Both grand juries rejected you and refused to indict her. It is practically unheard of for a grand jury to refuse an indictment. In 2016, it happened in just 6 cases out of over 150,000 offenses. And you had it happen twice in the same week, in 2 different courts. That must have been humiliating. And now there are reports that you are continuing to investigate her. The amount of resources that have gone into targeting Attorney General James, months of investigations, multiple failed indictments, is astounding. Since your own prosecutors told you that there is not enough evidence to support a conviction, it's clear that you were going after her simply because she held President Trump accountable and he wants to punish her. And she is just one name on a long list of Trump political enemies that DOJ is reportedly targeting. From Jerome Powell and Lisa Cook at the Federal Reserve to James Comey, numerous Democratic members of Congress, John Brennan, Jack Smith, Democratic officials in Minnesota, Chris Krebs, Miles Taylors, and more. And those are just the ones we know about. In contrast to these politically motivated investigations, grasping at something they can charge their enemies with, we now have concrete evidence of disgusting criminality revealed in the Epstein files. So I really have just one question for you. How many of Epstein's co-conspirators have you indicted? How many perpetrators are you even investigating?
First, you showed it. I find it.
How many have you indicted?
Excuse me. I'm going to answer the question.
Answer my question.
No, I'm going to answer the question the way I want to answer the question.
No,
Your
you're going to answer the
theatrics are
question the
ridiculous.
way I asked it.
Chairman Jordan, I'm not going to get in the gutter with these people, but I'm going to answer the question.
How many have you indicted?
Again, the time belongs to
Reclaiming my time.
the time belongs.
I think it's very interesting.
My time.
I think it's very
Reclaiming my
interesting.
time.
And you can
that
reclaim
he
your
talks
time,
about
but
they
reclaiming my time,
indicted.
Mr.
The
Chairman.
president said they
Close the
indicted
clock.
him
Mr.
twice.
Chairman, please
They
stop the
sure
clock
did.
and stop the
he
clock and
indicted-
restore his time.
Okay, here we go with these
Committee will be in order.
theatrics.
The time
Reclaiming my
belongs
time
to the
and
gentleman
yield
from
back
New
the clock,
York.
please.
We will give you a few more seconds. We will do that. But when
Reclaiming
you ask
my-
a question, the witness
question
gets to
was-
answer. You may not like the answer, but she
Right.
gets to
The
answer.
question was, how many of Epstein's...
They don't like
Que-
the answer,
Reclaiming
Chairman,
my time.
because it's honest.
Reclaiming
So
my-
he asked a
Reclaiming my
4-minute
time.
question.
Restore 45
and
seconds to
I
Mr.
am
Nadler,
going
please,
to
Mr. Chairman.
I mean,
Answer.
You can let her filibuster all day long, but not on our watch.
Reclaiming-
Not on our time. No way.
Reclaiming-
And I told you about that, Attorney General, before you started.
You don't tell me.
Yeah, oh, I
anything,
did tell you because we
washed
saw
up
what you did in the
loser
Senate.
Lawyer, not even a lawyer.
Committee will be in
Reclaiming my
order.
time, and I should get back at least 45 seconds.
We will give you a few more seconds. I
Not a
said that
few more,
already.
just 45 seconds.
Okay, I'm timing right now, Mr. Nadler. Go
All
right
right.
Reclaiming my time. The answer to my question, how many of Epstein's co-conspirators has she indicted, is 0. You have been the Attorney General for a whole year, and your DOJ fired the lead prosecutor of this case, sat on evidence this entire time, and claimed falsely last July that there were no more leads. It took an act of Congress for you to finally release part of the Epstein files, and when you did, you included personal information about the victims while protecting the names of abusers.
Time of the gentleman
None of
has
the perpetrators
expired.
have been brought to justice, but enormous resources
Time
have been
of the
dedicated to
gentleman has
pursuing Trump's
expired,
enemies.
and
It's
obviously
clear
there
that
was-
under your leadership, the Department of Justice
There
no
was
longer
no
works for
question
American
in there
people. It works
for her to
for Donald
respond to.
Trump. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back.
May I answer?
I think our next questioner, Madam Attorney General, is going to give you time to respond to
Thank you, Chairman.
all kinds of things. So we will turn to the gentleman from Texas for 5 minutes.
Ms. Bondi, you go right ahead. I'm over here. The time is yours.
Thank you. First, he brought up the president saying they indicted me twice. They sure did. They tried to impeach him twice, and you, Mr. Nadler, were one of the leads on the impeachment. I was on the other side. I lived that with you. During impeachment, you said the president conspired, sought foreign interference in the 2016 election. Robert Mueller found no evidence, none, of foreign interference in 2016. Have you apologized to President Trump? Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing. You sit here and you attack the president, and I am not going to have it. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, all they want to do, all the American people need to know this. They are talking about Epstein today. This has been around since the Obama administration. This administration released over 3 million pages of documents, over 3 million, and Donald Trump signed that law to release all of those documents. He is the most transparent president in the nation's history. And none of them asked Merrick Garland over the last 4 years one word about Jeffrey Epstein. How ironic is that? You know why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan,
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low, thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein and our most transparent president in the nation's history. The murder rate, as I said, has plummeted to a 125-year low, thanks to Donald Trump. For an unprecedented 9 straight months, there were 0 illegal border crossings at the southern border. That's what we should be focused on. All the great work that this president has done and will continue to do to keep America safe and to make Americans safe.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi. I agree with you totally.
All right, did y'all see what she did there? Did y'all see what the fucking Attorney General, Pam stupid ass fucking Bondi, whatever the fuck her name is? Did you see what this dumb bitch actually just fucking did? She was asked about how many prosecutions of rapists on Epstein Island she fucking prosecuted. And then she goes into giving Donald fucking John fucking cocksucking fucking Trump, the kitty diddler of Epstein Island, the 34 times convicted felon in the fucking White House, who's probably jacking his dick on a golf course right now with a pair of tweezers. She gives him the biggest verbal fucking blowjob in history. And then talks about the fucking Dow Jones Industrial. You know, I don't play the stock market. I don't have a 401k. I don't have an IRA. I don't have fucking mutual funds. I ain't got any of that shit anymore. I used to. You know, when I was with FRS, the Florida Retirement System, I had all that. But the Dow Jones is over 50,000 points. Do you know what that means to me? Every time the stock market goes up, it seems to me it's inflation. That's what it says to me every fucking time. Maybe I'm not an economist. Somebody tell me I'm wrong. But seems like every time the Dow goes up, everything else goes up too. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all these companies are getting profits from the inflated dollar, and shit that cost $1 5-10 years ago now cost $3 and $5. You know, I remember, call me old, okay? Call me old. I remember, I think the lowest I seen gas in my life was about 1996, 1997. And I remember 79-cent gasoline at the Delo truck stop in Delo, Mississippi. The Delo truck stop is no longer there. Wasn't really paying any attention back then. I know in the 90s gas was still under $1. I remember it was like 94 cents out here on Highway 49 in Gulfport. Because I remember my mom filling up that Crown Vic she had. And when I'm not talking about a 90s model Crown Vic, it was an 80s model Crown Vic that she had. And I remember her going to, actually it's a closed down gas station now, but it closed down as a Shell station. But back then, I think it was a raceway that she would go to out there on 49, and she would fill up for like 94 cents a gallon. Okay, I remember going to the grocery store and filling up a whole cart for like $20 or $30. I remember rent in Biloxi. I didn't have to worry about rent because, you know, we owned our house, but our mortgage was $292. I remember that a month. But I remember people that I knew that were paying rent were paying like $300 and $400 and $500 to rent a whole house in Biloxi, not far off the beach. I remember going and buying a 20-ounce Mountain Dew at a Coke machine for 75 cents. A 20-ounce bottle. Not a 12-ounce drink, not a 12-ounce canned drink for 50 cents. That was a thing, but now it's probably like $1.50. You know, these are things that I remember from my childhood, and the Dow didn't have to get 50,000 points for this to happen. All the stock market going up shows me is that inflation is real. You could, you know, I remember when $15 an hour, you could live like a king around here. Anyway, I done got off the topic on economics. I guess Pam Bondi's bullshit finally worked on me. But nevertheless, let's go back to the root cause here. We're talking about fucking Epstein. She was asked how many people have been investigated or indicted that were on Epstein Island. And the answer is fucking zero. Although I'm sure they'd love to indict Bill Clinton. Obviously he was there. He was there, Trump was there, Bill Gates was there. He's apologized for it, but only because he got caught. Apology not accepted, Bill Gates. You know, I'm sure if you look at it, all these rich assholes were there. And I don't care. Fucking lob them all up in a fucking net and fucking throw them in a fucking cell together. Let them jerk off to the old times that they used to have with them 14-year-old children on that fucking island. They're all pedophiles. It's proven. They're all a bunch of, I guess when you get money, you get to be a sexual fucking degenerate. I guess this is why 50 Shades of Grey involved a fucking billionaire. Doing whatever he wanted to some fucking run-of-the-mill fucking product of a blue-collar family. You know. This is... It goes back to the old adage, you know, if 50 Shades of Grey was written in a trailer park, it'd be a fucking Criminal Minds episode. I don't fucking understand it. Why are these motherfuckers not indicted? Why are they not on trial? I guarantee you could fucking convene a grand jury and boom, all these motherfuckers would be indicted. Pick 24 people at fucking random. Just randomly walk through, grab 24 voters from anywhere, fly them to fucking whatever federal jurisdiction you want to. Actually, now, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. Hold on. What do you know? They got a prison on St. Croix. Throw them in there. Try them in the Virgin Islands. That's where it happened. I'm sure the Virgin Islands, I mean, I know it's a territory, it's not a state, but I'm pretty sure that, they can fucking make a case for it. Try them in the Virgin Islands. Hell, I'll pay my own airfare to the Virgin Islands to go sit over there and go fucking sit on that jury. I'll judge it objectively, I promise you. I'll set my bias aside. I have enough integrity to know that about myself. But they're not going to do that. The reason they're not going to do that is because they're all rich. They're all powerful. They're politicians. They're fucking better than you and I. Y'all seen what that dumb blonde bitch said. Y'all seen it. She ain't gonna prosecute nobody. Nobody's going to jail. Except fucking Maxwell, whatever the fuck her first name is. Giselle, whatever the fuck her name is. Just saying her name, I gotta wash my mouth out with kerosene. Yeah. Let me tell you something, Pam Bondi. You work for me. You work for us. Do your fucking job, you motherfucking cunt. Y'all have a good day.